tension. So people are going, you know, all these years with like back pain and neck pain and knee pain and all sorts of weird pains, and they're thinking, you know, oh, maybe it's because of this, I lifted this wrong. And then what's happening is people are going to the doctors, and then the doctors are just chasing symptoms. So at this point, they're like, oh, take this. So then they take this medication, and then it's like chasing that symptom. But then is it really kind of curing what the root causes of that pain is? No. I saw this one video, and it was funny. I think it was on Instagram. It was a cartoon, and it was, this lady goes in, and she's like, oh, I'm having a issue with this. And then he goes, oh, here, take this. This will help it. And so then that got cured, but then it caused something else. So then she goes back to the doctor, and she's like, oh, now I have this. And he's like, oh, okay, take this. So then that gets cleared up, but then it causes something else. So there's a whole cycle, and then all of a sudden she comes right back to the first thing that, you know, she had. So I just feel so strongly about being able to help people and heal people from the root cause of what their issues are, whether it's a physical thing, or a spiritual thing, a mental thing, emotional. So that's why I really, really love the emotion code. So I didn't know it was like how this was gonna go down today, but I was like, maybe I can demonstrate on somebody. You know, if anybody's experiencing some type of pain in their body, I can kind of give you an example of how the emotion code works, how it gets taken out of the body. And yeah, so is anybody experiencing any pain here? Or does anybody have any questions? Because I know I'm like all over. I've never had to talk about this before, so it's like, you know, one of those things where I'm still kind of on that path of like, still learning more about it, but what I have learned and what I've experienced with working on myself and other people is pretty amazing.
I have a pain like right in my upper, like up here.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so you like your neck pain?
Yeah, so like neck and like
okay.
upper back.
So what I like to do, so in traditional emotion code work, they use muscle testing. So if anybody doesn't know what muscle testing is if you have like your arm out and then somebody else is like pressing down. So it's like you get a yes when your arm is strong, and a no would be like you're able to do this to somebody, right? For me, I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that with people. Like I wasn't resonating with that. And then there's like the sway test where you could stand. I don't know if you've ever done it. I used to do it all the time in stores. Like I'd be like 2 bottles of wine. Which bottle do I, you know, and I pick this one up and like, do I want this bottle? And it's like, go back, no. And then you pick up this one. Is this one? Yes. Okay, I'll take this one. So you'd see me at a grocery store doing that, like, which one? You know, there's like 5 different types of bread. Which one? Okay. And so that's how crazy I am.
You put it towards like a certain part of your body.
Yeah. So you can just hold something, right? And you can, or you can just think about it, and you can just like, if you literally do a sway test. So if I go, okay, which is better for my body? Red wine, and then I automatically go back. White wine, I go back. Because anytime I drink red wine, it's like the tannins in it. My body isn't like for some reason.
And is that just kind of tapping into like your subconscious. To know?
Yeah.
Because you kind of already know an answer intuitively, based on how you feel about things, right?
Yep. So that's exactly what the emotion code is. It's tapping into the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind knows everything, right? It's like it's always working. And so.
So what happens to my neck and back pain?
Well, we're going to identify that. Okay. So basically, by identifying it, by you giving permission, and by us identifying it, you're bringing it to the surface, right? And then by releasing it, we release it with a magnet. Why with a magnet? Because a magnet is magnifying. It magnifies our intention. And so furthermore, we're also using it along the meridian, the governing meridian line. So in acupuncture, that's like from here all the way back down, all the way down to the end of your tailbone, right? When we're doing emotion code, you really only need to do like this much. Like for me, I have this hairdo going on, so I really can just go like this and release. But you know, usually when I'm working on somebody else, I go from like the neck all the way down the spine, right? And it's putting the intention in that governing meridian line.
Should I come up there? Are you going to show us?
Yeah. Actually,
I want to see this before.
I'm happy to
I want this pain to go away.
All right. I'm in pain.
Is this chronic pain or recent?
Recent.
Recent. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe that's easier. I don't know.
So
What do you want me to do?
Could have
so
been.
basically, okay. So my true self. Let's see. I'm sorry. Your name again? Kevin. Okay. My true self knows that we were able to release an emotion from Kevin today. Okay. Awesome. So I'm getting a yes. Let's see. So you would identify, is it like your neck area, or is it like more in your trap area?
It's like exactly right there where you just
right here, your trap.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, let's ask, is the pain that he's talking about right now, is that his neck? No, so it's his trap, so yeah, it's your trap area. Okay, trapezius muscle. So let's see, my true higher self knows that there's emotion ready to be released now from his trap. Okay, is it from both traps? No, right side only. Okay, is it in column A? Is it in column B? Odd row? It's in an even row. B2, B4, B6. Okay, so in emotion code, there's 2 columns. There's column A and there's column B, and then there's 6 rows. So by identifying A, B, odd is 1, 3, 5, even is 2, 4, 6. That allows me to get to, because there's so many different emotions in each one. There's like 5 different emotions in each little section. So I was able to get to now 5 out of all of these that quick.
So which are they?
So
for me,
for you, so we're gonna go through them right now, okay? So it's coming up as column B, row 6. So my true self knows that the trapped emotion ready to be released now from his right trap. Is it pride? Is it shame? Is it shock? Is it unworthy? Is it worthless? So it's shock. Okay, so
that's a pretty good one out of all the other ones.
Yeah.
I mean, in front of a group of people, probably.
Like, don't let it be that one. The other thing with working with clients too is, you know, I always let them know, like, if there's anything that ever comes up that you're not comfortable speaking with, by all means, like, you do not have to. Just by you being here and getting to a certain point, it's bringing it to the surface, right? And it could be like, I could be like, okay, is anything coming to mind? And you could be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can test. Like, what he's thinking about now, is that what the issue is? And I'd either get a yes or no. So if it's yes, and then I can ask, is there anything else that we need to know? If I get no, then fine, that's all we need. So that's the beauty in it, that you don't actually have to like say everything, right? If you're not comfortable with it, but as long as you're kind of like, you identified it and you're coming to terms with it, then we're able to release it.
If I'm cognizant of it, you're going to be able to tell what's happening for me.
Yeah.
Well, so in traditional, when you do the muscle test, it's with the patient doing it.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, you're the one handling the object.
So
is it because of the conduit frame?
I'm gonna try it actually. Okay, so put your arm out. Put this arm out.
Okay. Should I face you? Or
You just stand there. Put this way right here, and then make a fist, and make it strong enough to where if I was, yeah, perfect. So that's a yes, right? So this right here is a yes. Okay. So say my name is Kevin.
My name is Kevin.
Okay. Now say my name is Bob.
My name is Bob.
See how your arm went down. Okay.
I was laughing though.
Okay. So say my name is Kevin.
My name is Kevin.
Okay, so that's pretty strong right there. Say my name is Bob.
My name is Bob.
Okay, so it's a lot easier for you to go down. So that's how you muscle test. So, but for me, it's just like awkward. I don't know why. I don't want to like have someone like, you know, for half an hour, you know, doing this. It works for everybody else, but for me,
this is like a lie test. Like
Can you try
It's a
that
muscle.
on me?
It's a
So one question was, in this particular case, he's responding.
His subconscious is
in the method that you demonstrated earlier, it's your movement, so you're tapping into him.
I'm tapped into his energy right now.
Okay.
Yep.
And she had to do that by asking him permission to work on him.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And by him coming up and saying, yeah, you know, it's already kind of like the permission is there. But yeah, you always want to ask for permission. But as working with a client, as the client shows up for a session, it's like, I don't know if they have permission, right? Okay, so even beyond that, how old are you?
29.
29, okay. So my true higher self knows that the trapped emotion of shock in Kevin, was that trapped between 1 and 15? Between 15 and 29? Between 15 and 20? Between 20 and 25? Between 25 and 29. So between 20 and 25. So 20 and 25, can you please show me? Is that 24? Okay, and can you please show me the month? January, December. Okay, so somewhere like towards the end of the year, like October-ish, when you were 24 years old, can you go back in time and think about anytime, and it could be 25, it could be 23, but your subconscious is saying it's showing up as 24. Did anything occur in your life that would have created shock?
Yeah, a few things. I was living in Mumbai, India, and I had to deal with some family drama where my uncle was trying to kick my grandmother out of her home and steal all her money.
Okay.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Okay. So my true higher self knows that shock was stored because of this event that he's talking about. I'm getting a yes. Okay. So since that incident, you stored the emotion of shock in this area. Now, typically, shock is generated from certain organs like the sexual glands and the sexual organs. But trapped emotions can be lodged in any part of the body, right? It could be also because it's maybe at that time, maybe it was like weakened or it was sore or something, and for whatever reason, it got trapped in that area. Okay, so let's see. My true higher self knows, are there other areas of the body where this is lodged? Okay, so is it in the glands? Is it in the sexual organs? So it's also in your sexual organs. Shock. It might not be playing out now, but it potentially will, right? Are there any other parts of the body? Okay, so as of right now, because sometimes not everything wants to be cleared at the same time, right? So we can go ahead, what I'm gonna do is clear it from this part of your body and your sexual organs, and we'll see what happens.
Wow. This is much more productive than I thought it would be.
For a great TED Talk right
Yeah.
This is awesome.
We're gonna have to post this
Wait,
on
we need the
porno.
soft light. We need the soft light.
The softbox.
Softbox, yeah, where's the softbox?
See how the universe works? So also for emotion codes, so my theta teacher, when she introduced it to me again, she told me actually she has this chart of emotions, like positive emotions that she reinforces once they're being cleared. They don't teach that in traditional emotion code. So I didn't bring those today because I was like, well, I want to.
But I love that. That
Me
to
too.
me,
I
that was
couldn't-
the coolest part of working with
It is
emotion
pretty
code
cool.
with you.
Yeah, and so I gotta like look through my notes and find it, but I didn't bring the
I
list
feel
of
like
those.
you can mix them up though for shock.
Yeah. Throw it in there.
I was
Just
like,
infuse
tranquility.
it.
Yeah.
Infuse
Like,
it with
what
some
would you
goodness.
like? Yeah, what would you like? I mean, at this point, we can do whatever. So,
What are my options?
like, comforted.
You already let her in.
Yeah.
Comforted, you know, consoled,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I
To
think
deal
would
with the
be
shock I
like-
have in my back and sexual
Yeah.
organs.
Danny said she's already inside of you. You have no choice.
He needs relief.
attended.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna trust you on
Okay.
this.
I don't know why I'm getting comforted and consoled. So we're gonna use those two. So go ahead and just sit a little bit forward because I'm gonna go down your back here.
All right.
And
And your
so
sexual organs.
my true self knows that we're able to release this now. Okay, awesome. So, and then the way that I do like the command and everything, and how I say things is I'm mixing theta. I've already turned on my Reiki. Before I got here, I turned on my Reiki. I actually set the energy within this living room throughout the whole day. And so in my method of healing, I always like to mix different modalities. So right now we have Reiki going on, theta going on, and the emotion code. So let me have you sit up a little bit further, or you know what, let me turn this chair. Oh.
What do you want me to do?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna move out the way because I need some sexual organ.
He doesn't want your bed.
I don't want it shooting out.
True creator moment is when true several things is just connected to the trapped emotion of shock.
Just make eye contact.
No. Just yet another fact.
And the highest and best way now. And we can go ahead and infuse consoled and comforted. And the highest best way now. Thank you. Descend. Awesome. So you really only need to go down the back 3 times. I like to do it the whole time I'm like doing the intention of what we're doing, what we're cleaning. So you're good. You can be comfortable. So we'll go ahead and my true self knows that we have cleared shock in his right trapezoid. Has the shock also been cleared from his sexual organs? So yes.
Yay!
So So,
Yeah, that sounds good.
my true self, is there another reason why he has shock? No. Awesome. Is it lodged in another part of the body? Perfect. So I like to ask it in different ways too. So do me a favor and go walk through the kitchen and then come back and sit down.
All right.
Yeah.
Feel free to grab snacks along the way.
Yeah. Are you hungry for something specific?
And just kind of move your shoulders around too. How are you feeling?
Give us a shimmy.
I feel like I'm shimmying a little.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, before we did this work, what was that pain? What would you have rated that pain?
I would have rated it maybe like a 3.
A 3?
Mhm.
Okay, and now, if you're assessing your body?
It's a 2. It's less. It's
Okay.
still there.
Okay.
I'm focusing on it more than I was before.
Okay. Awesome. Well, you'll see, sometimes it takes 1 to 2 days to integrate the energy and to kind of recalibrate. But usually it's like you'll feel something a little bit less, like the pain will lessen a lot. So we'll check in with you in about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. And for my sexual organs?
Go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Preferably not my black towel.
But yeah, that's pretty much how it works. So, and doing the heart wall first is really kind of pinpointing the emotions that are in the heart wall before we can go through the body. But I demonstrated that just because it's fun and it's quick and you can identify certain parts that have pain and just kind of go there. And they can just be targeted and boom. Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks for being a...
Thank you.
Monet, for
Yeah, I don't
me,
even
by
know
the
what
way.
else to talk about. Yeah.
For me, by the way, I mean, I've experienced emotion code, and it's not my talk, but I'll say
Yeah,
this
yeah, no,
as
please,
a
please.
testament, I guess you could say. Monet just worked on me, I'd say, about a week and a half ago. I was having some urinary tract issues. I've kind of been having them off and on for a couple years now, and so as long as I've known Monet, she's like, we're gonna get to the bottom of this, and she's been so determined, like, she's gonna figure it out, what's trapped emotionally, and so we've been working on it a lot lately, and she just worked on me, I wanna say about a week and a half ago, and I'm like completely cleared now. So.
Yeah.
And I don't take medication, it's all water.
Nice. The other thing that I had learned in the process of getting certified was the creator, whatever you want to call him, Dr. Bradley Nelson, had this one woman who had MS, and he was able to tap into her body and release the emotions that were associated to that. But on top of that, he was like, sometimes what the body needs is also something that helps physically, like herbs and stuff like that, natural remedies to kind of help supplement and flush it out of the body. So for her, it was neem oil. And so it was like neem supplements. And he was able to, also, figure out like, okay, how much does your body need? And it ended up being something like 6 weeks. And then you're able to like pinpoint the certain amount, like dosage, like 5 times a day for 6 weeks. And so in learning that, I was like, okay, let me try this also with Susie. So like, even though we released those trapped emotions, what else was needed? And so there is a certain doTERRA product called On Guard. And specifically they make the oil, but then they also have capsules. And the capsules, it also has oregano and some other, additional things. And so I was like, I'm getting that really strong. And sure enough, it came up as, yeah. And so we were able to pinpoint the certain dosage. And so I think that's something that also helps. And because sometimes it's not just like, okay, let's clear it, but it's also like, what else is the body needing? You know what I mean? This is the time to tap in and like say like, okay, it also needs this because it's lacking, these different components that are in these oils or herbs or something like that. So that's what I'm in love with right now, is being able to get to the root cause of all these different ailments and everything going on.
So how do you find your clients? Do you you work for an establishment, or do you?
No,
you
so I created my own company. It's called Potent Habit, and I haven't advertised or anything. It's really just been word of mouth, and I think it's really getting to the point now where I'm starting to like, okay, how do I branch out? How do I get my name out there? Because at first, it's just working from home. I have one room that's designated for it. It's like my healing room. People come over, but I'm like at that point now to where I'm like, okay, I really need to start like taking the next steps and like getting myself more out there and get kind of getting bigger.
Do you experience trouble with bringing people into your home?
No, because I've done so much protection work around that at least as of now, I don't know. And I live in a really secure place, but you know, I figure if anything's gonna happen, I'm not gonna attract the
I
clients.
mostly ask for anybody else that might be considering it because I know.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's questions that come to mind.
Yeah, no,
Anybody
for
might
sure. And that's what I always tell people is I always cleanse myself. I always, my space is always protected. It's always cleansed. If it's not me working on it, it's my mentors that I've had come in and like do certain things around it as well. So it's a very safe, soft approach in healing. I mean, if you think about it, if someone has cancer, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, why not try it? You know, it's energy. We're all energy, you know? This glass is energy. We're all the same, right? So if our thoughts are energy and these emotions are energy, then it makes sense that it all can be dealt with energetically, right?
Do you recommend people reading that book just casually, or is that like
yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
What is the book name?
It's called The Emotion Code.
Emotion Code?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon, and you can even learn. I mean, that's how I self-taught myself, because I've done Reiki for so long and Theta for a while that it was so much easier for me because I'm more accustomed to like being open to how to do the healing and tapping in and channeling and trusting the subconscious. Because I know a lot of people that are like, oh, I have a pendulum and it just never works for me. And for me, I'm just like, boom, it just like works. But it's practice. I've done it for so many years. You know, so it just works for me. And I think that, you know, I think it's okay to be able to take something and learn it and tweak it into your own way, because it's all a universal consciousness. It's how you apply it and how it works for you. And as long as you have the highest intention for your clients, it's gonna work.
When I often we associate unfinished energy patterns with negative, but positive energy patterns can also be trapped and unfinished. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, like I said, when I replace them with positive emotions, I really feel like there's really no harm in them, right? There's one emotion on here that you could be like, oh, why would that be a trapped emotion? And it's overjoy, right? Because if you think about it, you're like, why would overjoy be like a bad trapped emotion? But they say that when, let's say you get scared really bad, compared to if you just won the lottery, it's the same emotional response. And so that can translate into the negative, right? So the list that I was given, I just trust that those positive emotions are doing nothing but good and nothing bad. And by putting in positive emotions, it's really just kind of like helping in the healing process and the recalibration, right?
I think also a testament to Emotion Code that attracted me to it above all else, make sure she's still out there, was the fact that regardless of all the metaphysical aspects of it, the actual session in and of itself made me tap into all these things I had never really acknowledged or even experienced. Because I've never saw the benefit of seeing like a psychologist or like doing therapy, because I'm like, it takes too long. I'm like a cost-benefit analysis person. I'm like, I want results, I want maximum results, and I want it now. I don't want to have to like spend months, I don't want to have to spend years, all this. But just with the session in and of itself, besides like the spiritual aspects or metaphysical, anything above that, you tapped into very specific times, specific months, and I was able actually to analyze those throughout my life, because I'm not an emotional person, and I don't like harbor any like feelings, or I'm just pretty like even. But it was good because it was kind of accessing a lot of those things that I didn't realize. I'm like, oh, now that you bring this up, this is something that did like hurt me, or something that I kind of held on to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that might be something I subconsciously still hold on to, even though it's not in the forefront.
Yeah.
So even though I'm always happy all the time, that might be something that subconsciously I always keep in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
But now that I'm acknowledging it, I'm also accepting it, and then I can let it go.
To the surface of
Yeah.
real, yeah. And that's how strong the subconscious mind is even though you say I'm such a happy-go-lucky person, I'm balanced, I'm easy, it's the subconscious is like, no, at that time, you process it a little bit different, remember? You know? And so that's why I love it
and
too.
And that's the things
like,
it forces you. Because if you were to tell me like, hey, come up with a traumatic experience, I'm like, what traumatic experience?
Yeah.
But you're like able to break it down to like, hey, this month of this year, this like, you know, like all this stuff, and then I have to really dig deep and be like, what was that? And I was like, oh, and every single one that you came up with, to the T, I found that emotion.
Right, and it's always like right there, like if you just listen, it's like right there, like you're answering it, and as you're speaking, you're like, what? Like, where did that come from? Like, I had no idea. We
Yeah.
talked about one trapped emotion from like high school that I guess I was like, I forget what emotion it was, but I was in a basketball game and I was so excited because I was gonna get this layup and it was a breakaway, and then I ended up missing and hitting the bottom of the freaking of the rim and like getting all embarrassed, and it was a trapped emotion. I'm like, why the hell would I trap that?
But it was such specific
Yeah.
things, and it's so weird because it's something you don't even remember. Like some of the things that I recalled with you were things I didn't even ever remember happened.
Yeah,
But because you gave that
exactly.
specific time, emotion, everything, I was like, oh, that
Yeah.
happened. Yeah.
And I think that's what I love about this too, is that the healing is working together with the client. It's not like just me having to, you know, psychically tap in and tell you what it is, right? But it's the fun and like, you know, you're actually helping facilitate your own healing.
Yeah.
You know, I worked on my mom's hurt wall yesterday actually, and my mom is someone who was really into like the Catholic Church. So when I first got into Reiki, we would get into these heated text messages because she just did not want to hear anything about it because it was like, it goes against the church. And I was just like, ugh, so frustrated, you know? And so she's been on my mind, and she just texted me. She goes, oh, I'm having all these issues with my large intestine. And I'm like, it's so funny because like there's different parts of the body that get triggered with these trapped emotions. So I was like, you gotta try this new thing I'm doing. And she was like super open, and she goes, I'll try anything. So it was, you know, for her, it's some people, you know, when they get to the point where they have so much pain that they're just like, forget, you know, what they've been, you know, dwelling on, you know, the whole religion aspect of it. And so I did the session with her, and to my surprise, I thought she was gonna be like, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't know, you know, but for everything that came up, she's like, oh yeah, that was when blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, how do you, she's 63, how do you remember when you were like
So
34? She goes, oh yeah, that was a time when, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow. And so it was so easy for her. You just never know what happens with each client. Everybody's completely different, and I think that's like the beauty in it too, and what keeps me going, because it's like, one, I'm helping, you know, people heal and to advance and to ascend, right? But also it's me learning as well.
With Reiki, you're not having to choose spirituality over religion. They both coincide,
Yeah.
correct?
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
I think that's
Same
a
thing
big
with the
mix
motion
up.
code.
It's a big mix up that people feel like if you're doing Reiki, there's no way that you could be a religious person, or like, oh, you don't believe in God because you're spiritual. It has nothing to do with it, actually.
I think it's as simple as meditation too. I just actually was conflicted with meditation for a long time, and simply because I was like, do I believe in God or do I believe in spiritual consciousness? Is it the same? Is it an actual conflict? Like, is it deriving from Buddhism? Like, where am I even at? And then I just like people like myself, just the simplest thing. But now it's just I'm accepting of all of it just being
It's all
one.
one thing,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, if you think back, you know, like Catholicism, you know, even like you think about Jesus, it's like universal consciousness was way before Jesus, you know, and before Catholicism came around and stuff like that. You know, Reiki, actually, we all have the power to heal ourselves, and at some point, it was taken from us because they didn't want us to have it. And so I think this is such an important time now where different types of healing modalities are coming to the forefront, because it's like, listen, we all can do the healing.
Right.
We all can be healed, you know? So it's like there's this been huge shift. And so I think that's why it's bigger than ever than, like, say back in the 70s, you know, and the hippies, you know, were talking about it and stuff, you know? It's pretty crazy. So I think, you know, with Reiki, like you're saying, and any of these other modalities of healing, it doesn't go against any religion. You could still be religious and believe in, you know, this universal conscious energy, or not. Like for me, growing up, I'd go to church and I'd just be sitting there and I would just tune everything out, because I just, at that young of an age, I knew that wasn't for me. I just look at the stained glass and I knew when to stand and to sit and to kneel and to take the bread. And I've been baptized, I've done my first like communion, I've done my confirmation. All I need to do is get married in a church, and I don't think I'm gonna get married in a church.
Quick question: during the like diagnosis, does it like separate between like emotional causes versus maybe physical or just like chronic? For
So right now I'm in the emotion code, and then the step after that is the body code. So
Okay.
I'm really excited to do that. So maybe perhaps I can do that for another talk once I get to that point. But in the body code, from what I've gotten glimpses of, is you're getting into like toxins and fungus and like all these other contributing factors to like diseases and like physical things, to where you're able to like pinpoint and heal the body on those levels. So
Okay.
right now this is just like the emotion code, and then the body code is like a whole nother level of.
Yeah. I mean, I get a lot of back pain, but I think it's just because I sit in front of the computer like 10 hours a day.
Perhaps, yeah, but
And then just
there
like
could be
doing
something
deadlifts
else.
and then just sitting. It's just,
Do you have the
Yes, ma'am.
ergonomic like laptop thing? Because that thing is I study
I mean,
so
I have
much.
I have one of those electric tables that move up and down, but then I just end up sitting because it's easier. It's like a great idea. You buy it and then you stand up for a week and then you're like, all right, I'm just sitting. But yeah, I think it definitely helps to stand a little bit. Yeah, and I use a desktop, so I don't-
Even like it's just like a metal piece, and
Yeah.
then the way that it positions it,
Yeah.
it's a lot better for your posture. Because like I'm in front of the computer all the time too.
I saw this YouTube video. There's like this $40,000. It's like a command station where like the chair like rolls up and the screen like goes up.
Oh hell yeah!
I don't know if I want to spend $40,000, but
That's
that
a
seems
little
like a pretty
excessive.
cool,
Like grandma's boy.
cool setup.
Are you sure you don't have shock in your genitals?
Well, let's.
He just doesn't want to be home.
Let's see. Is the pain in your upper or lower back?
It's more so my lower back.
Your lower back. Okay.
Yeah.
So my chair self knows. Are we able to tap into mic right now? Like, okay. My chair self knows. Is there a trapped emotion release now from Mike's lower back? So I'm getting a yes. Column A. Column B. Odd row. It's even. 2, 4, 6. D2.
She's so passive.
Alright. Oh, mate.
He's looking for genitals on
Almost like the
Or actually, it's small.
It's
Okay.
very tiny.
My chair self
What?
is.
From here.
Mature says, "The trapped emotion ready to release now from Mike's lower back. Is it failure, helplessness?"
What's that?
I think my thing's connected. Sorry.
Oh,
Sounds like bite. Sounds.
hopelessness, lack of control, low self-esteem, lack of control. Lack of control is coming up in the lower back. All right, so oh, you know what? I just realized I have the positive emotions on this one.
Oh, nice.
That's why I wasn't showing you in my email. Okay.
Sorry.
So my chair set knows the trapped
I was
emotion.
like Bluetooth is hooked up to
What's
the
How old are you? Somebody's eating an apple back there.
How old are you?
You need to speak.
35.
35.
Yeah.
Okay. So my chair self knows the trapped emotion of lack of control. Was that between 0 and 15? Between 15 and 30. Between 30 and 35. Okay, can you show me please? 30 and 35? Is that 34? 33. 35. So it's 34. Okay, and can you show me the month, please? So like around June. When's your birthday?
April 22nd.
Okay, so right after you turn 34.
So last year.
Lack of control.
You know, I get annoyed sometimes easily. What's going on last year? Did I go on vacation? Yeah, I can't think of anything
Okay, so
specific.
let's see.
Yeah.
Family, work. Were you in a relationship at the time?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Family, work. Let's see. Friends. Family, work. Which one? Yeah, for some reason I'm getting. Was there anyone that you were trying to date or like wanting to date or?
I'm pretty jaded with dating. Or I don't know. I don't really get
Okay.
emotionally attached easily.
Okay.
I'm kind of just. I don't know. I go out a
So
lot.
can you recall anything that happened around that time? With any? Let's see. Is it friends? Or is it more like Yeah, for some reason I'm still getting like
Yeah.
something on a romantic level.
I'll have to take a look at my calendar.
Let me look at my
Well, something
Consult
in
the
lack
sex
of-
journal.
If you think about lack of
Look at the
control,
Yeah, look at my books.
tapes.
My
Or the
spreadsheet.
black book.
your black book, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Yeah.
Mature self knows.
To the
Do we need
video
to know
archive.
more about the
To the
situation?
video
So I actually
Yeah.
don't have to know more about it. We can go ahead and release it.
Okay.
But
But I think we
I
all
guarantee
know.
you, I guarantee you something's gonna pop up, and you're gonna
Okay.
be like, oh my god.
Do I get
You
a
can
seat?
come up here and stand. You can stand like right here. And let me see if it's anywhere else in the body, because lack of control is
You're
usually.
smiling over there, you're like,
He can't wait. He just doesn't want to be
Shock
alone.
in the
He can't
genitals.
wait.
Is there another part of the body where you're storing lack of control? Is it in the spleen? Is it in the stomach? So it's also in your stomach.
I mean, I eat whatever I want, I guess.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Whatever I
you trapped this fairly early on, right? So this is just a year ago. So it might not be playing out that
Yeah.
bad right now, but let's fast forward 10 years.
Okay.
All the different things in
I
your
did
life
have
that
a
will come
bad
up.
emotional breakup, but this is 27,
Okay,
23, 27.
that's probably a different
And
emotion
then,
that's
and
coming
then
up.
Asian parents, they're always tough to deal with.
Okay.
I would say those are the two biggest.
but it's not always the biggest. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah,
it could
yeah.
be, like she was saying, she
Yeah,
missed
like,
a layup,
so
and that was what
much
came to her
Yeah.
Are you
mind.
for real?
Like
Yeah.
mine was something like super insignificant about like somebody forgetting a date or something, and I didn't even think that affected me.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing; it doesn't have to be like the forefront of like you'll
Okay.
probably realize it
Let's
later.
just
It's probably
release it.
something.
Let's
Yeah.
just-
My point is being that it may not be
What
giving
you
you
think it
as
is.
much trouble. Like you're feeling pain, right? So that was the whole point of like what is in your lower back. So that's what we're targeting now. It's
Right.
also in your stomach. But let's say 10 years from now, let's say you didn't release it, right?
Mhm.
Then it's very highly possible that things are gonna start
More
malfunctioning or
okay.
like more pain or you know what I mean? You might be like, oh, why am I not pressing my food or my
I do have a weak stomach.
Okay.
That, I mean, I think it's genetic. My dad has a weak stomach.
And so I love that you said that it's genetic. So I just learned that with emotions, we can also identify emotions that are trapped along the genetic line. And I think the furthest that Dr. Bradley Nelson went back was 187 generations back
Wow.
from a certain trapped emotion. And so by clearing it, you're clearing that whole line, and also your children and
Yeah.
you know,
I might have to marry
grandchildren.
somebody who has like who can eat a lot.
You're hilarious.
Unless somebody else hot dog eating contest, they have really good digestion.
So you gotta find Kobayashi.
Yeah, there you
Yes.
go. Female
Yeah, we
version.
go.
That's Kobayashi.
Let's see. What yourself knows is the trapped emotional lack of control. Is that in any other part of the body besides the lower back and stomach? Okay, so just those two areas. So let's see. Let's see. So a true creator of all that is the true self-claiming existence. It is commanded that the trapped emotion of lack of control in Mike's lower back and stomach be completely cleared and removed and replaced with the emotions of control, cooperative, manageable, and calm in the highest peace right now. Thank you. Just done.
I feel really good.
Now go outside. I want you to run down the street.
You're gonna have to do a shirtless
We just need to deadlift
Shirtless,
this table
shirtless.
real quick.
You're gonna have to do a pamphlet.
You have to do some
Okay.
Makes
deadlifting.
it in his stomach.
Actually, yeah, you know, walk around. I want you
Okay.
to walk around with the energy.
Cycle.
Is this not a pantsless party? That'll be the next living room talk.
And on a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate that lower back pain that you had before this?
Better, yeah.
But what would you rate it before?
It's not too bad like right now today, but just like after long sitting down seconds,
Yeah.
it's worse.
Well, you'll have to let me know if it's gotten any better when you're at the computer for long amounts of time. My chart self knows that the trapped emotional lack of control in Mike's lower back, has that been removed? Awesome. Has it also been removed from his stomach?
But I feel pretty
Is
good
it
right
trapped
now.
in another part of the body? Does he have another reason why he has lack of control? Okay, so perfect. So that's been cleared. Yeah, does anybody have any questions?
My intuition is telling me Danny needs some work on his hip.
Oh, I
But
did.
yeah, it's telling me that it's because he got hit there. So
It's near the
When he's like,
near
you
the
won't do
sexual,
this for a living.
uh,
I demonstrated a few things.
Well, no, something actually came up the other day, remember, when we were talking about, you were like, why don't you throw your kicks anymore?
yeah,
And it was almost like we were doing the emotion code right there.
right. Working on
Because
him.
he was talking about how that one time you were sparring with your friend and you did your awesome kick thing and you knocked him out, right?
Yeah.
And so I think
I think it
that
tracks.
definitely trapped some type of emotion because you felt so bad that you knocked your friend out, and then he was out, right, for
Mhm.
a fight or something.
Yeah, he had like a big fight coming up, and
So something like
Yeah,
that would
minor
definitely make
concussion.
you
I could do
emotionally feel
jiu-jitsu
so
demonstration for the next one.
Yeah.
Like,
Do it.
But yeah, I mean, so that would be interesting to see where that comes out. But we still have to work on
Mhm.
Yeah.
his heart wall. He's my next victim.
Yeah.
And then Serge, I'm working on Serge tomorrow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, you got your work cut out for you.
Oh, I'm
I'm very aware of all the trauma.
As long as you have no genital shock, she'll be alright.
You have to put extra protection in place.
Oh, I
Learn
got
the
you.
sage, do all that. You don't want any of that left in the house.
I got you.
That's how I felt when I first went. I was like, I don't want to touch your crystals. Like, just keep my bad whatever I got going on to myself.
It's all good.
Just gonna have to throw all
I
these
think
crystals out and place them all to we drained all the energy out.
Yeah.
The most trapped emotions I found in someone's heart wall was 17.
that was me, was under you, right? Was there underneath that?
Or maybe it was 19.
I was
You-
17.
You were 17? Okay, so yeah, somebody else was 19 then.
Challenge accepted.
So that, yeah, it's really interesting.
Actually, what if someone doesn't really know what their pain is? Like, it's like maybe too subconscious to even realize.
Then that's fine.
Oh,
what
I
we
didn't
do
have
is
any
we would-
pain.
Yeah, she didn't have any pain
I didn't
either.
have pain.
I just did it as a demonstration so we can just kind of, if pain is fun, because you can, not pain is fun, but pain to work on is fun because you can then evaluate like, oh, it was like this and now I feel much better.
You don't
know,
have
so
a
I'm
single
marker.
pain in your
Yeah.
body?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Oh, lucky you.
But yeah, with the heart wall, it's usually there's no pain typically, and it could be that someone's like, oh my god, later, like, oh, you know what? Maybe I feel so much better, even though we worked on the heart wall. I don't know why. It could be because of the correlation of what's in the neck and you possibly lodging that emotion in your neck space. Yeah.
It's kind of random, but what about dry eyes?
Dry eyes? It's. I mean, anything's possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you go for it, man?
It's usually connected with the sexual organ. Be ready.
Yeah, Jason, why don't you see
You
if
wanna do
maybe...
something?
I would love to.
I would
Yeah.
actually
yeah.
like to see
I
that.
would
Let's
love
see.
It was
I
awesome.
don't know. I feel like I want to try to do.
Sorry, guys.
No worries, you're bringing the food.
I think I was feeling a lot of more trapped pain like about a year ago. This was like right after my breakup.
Yeah.
But the past like 12 months for me have been really happy, actually. So I've actually noticed just a lot of like probably issues going away, actually.
Yeah.
Because like I actually felt like this like there was like a 2-year period when I was very unhappy, and that's partly due to relationship, partly due to you know my business,
Yeah.
and I actually physically saw myself age a lot in that year. You know, it's like it's just that stress. Like I could tell, like you know, my body was actually changing.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, and I didn't like it at all. And I just noticed like in the past 12 months, like just practicing on being more present and letting go of things like resentment, any kind of negative emotion, and just being more aware that it's even happening at all.
Yeah.
Like has really made me feel a lot younger, and just have more of a glow. You know, it's just something I'm noticed about.
You want to start working on your heart wall?
Sure, yeah, I would love to.
Oh, I want to
See
see what
what's,
this heart looks like.
Yeah.
What's
I want your dry eyes, man.
Yeah, I do feel happy, and then like, but my eyes are probably like the
Did you
biggest
say
thing.
you had LASIK? Or?
Yeah, I had LASIK.
Yeah, I had
How long ago?
That was a while ago. That's probably like, I mean, more than 5 years for sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then some days I wake up, it's just like it's not a problem, and then some days, yeah,
Do
just.
you sleep with a face mask? I
You just
noticed
need
that
to
helps.
drink more.
Oh really?
Yeah, cause like my bedroom, like the AC blows like over through like the ceiling, or whatever. And I do notice that when I sleep, and I don't know, cause a lot of people when they sleep, their eyes aren't completely closed. sometimes like open a little bit.
If you
And
drink
if you have a
more,
lot
you're
of
okay.
vent,
Oh, interesting.
yeah,
Isn't
like, you get more
Yeah,
eye
actually.
restriction.
Actually, that's an interesting point. Like, I don't actually know if I open my eyes when I sleep.
Mm.
But San Francisco homes also don't have air conditioning. So
Yeah.
But it definitely helps just having like something to
Something
cover
to
your
cover it.
eyes. It locks in the moisture.
Mm.
It helps me a lot because I've had LASIK done too.
Okay.
How much would you say, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much it bothers you? Your eyes?
It bothers me quite a bit. I think I just kind of have dealt with it.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10.
Definitely a 7. At
7?
least.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see what we
7
can
or
do
8
with
probably.
that. Mature self-knows, we're able to tap into Jason right now. Awesome. That's pretty good, yes. Okay. Mature self-knows, does Jason have any trapped emotions in his eyes? Is it both eyes? Both eyes, okay. Mature self-knows, trapped emotion rate release now, is that in column A? It's in column B. Odd row, even row. These are even. 2, 4, 6. B4. Okay. Mature self-knows, the trapped emotion rate release now from Jason's eyes, is it depression, frustration, indecisiveness, panic, taken for granted? So it's depression. So let's see, how old are you?
33.
33. Mature self-knows, the trapped emotion of depression, was that between 0 and 15? Between 15 and 30? Between 30 and 33? Between 15 and 20? Between 20 and 25? Between 25 and 30? So between 20 and 25. Sure. Is that 21? Is that 22? 20? 21? 21. And can you please show me the month? Depression. I don't know if that's like November-ish. When's your birthday?
June 15th, 1985.
Okay, so shortly after, like a few months after your 21st birthday.
My 21st birthday. Huh. Yeah, I had a breakup with my college girlfriend. Yeah, we did it for 3.5 years.
And, okay, and so depression, did you have some sort of a depression at that time?
Yeah, it was definitely a heartbreak. I don't know if it's like a clinically diagnosed depression, but I definitely felt probably like,
Form of it, yeah.
yeah, just very sad for like 6 months at least.
Okay. And it's interesting that it's coming up in the eyes because the eyes is being able to see, right? What are you seeing in regards to the breakup? How are you seeing life? How are you seeing yourself? How are you seeing yourself in another relationship, right? What's your second choice? Is it the breakup? College breakup, so I'm getting yes. I'm sure someone knows this. The trapped emotion of depression, is that lodged in another part of the body? Yes.
I knew it.
That's the opposite of emotional coding.
Is it trapped emotion of depression in Jason? Is it also in his liver? Is it in his gallbladder? So I'm getting liver and gallbladder as well. Is it in any other part of the body? So it's just those three. Yeah. So liver and gallbladder as well. So you, like I said, you may not be experiencing anything there now.
Yeah.
But 10, 15, 20 years, who knows, you know? Or less. Mature self-knows, we're able to release this emotion now from him. Okay, so you ready to do that?
What is a gallbladder do again?
I don't remember.
It's like a
It's a really small part.
bile?
Of
Is
yeah,
that-
bile.
Yeah.
But what does bile do?
Yeah, I don't even
Breaks
know
down
what
your
it is.
food.
Your
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So,
It's the gross thing of horror movies.
What's that?
true good of all that is the true something. Just commanded that the trapped emotion of depression in Jason's eyes and his liver and gallbladder be completely cleared and renewed. And
Do you want anything?
I'm good, thank you.
You want like water or soda?
enthused
I'm
about
good,
life,
Here.
happy and excited and nice.
Good day.
I have my glass right there.
Would you like to drink some of this?
Some people have seen have gotten like
I won't say no.
some people have seen like they actually get emotional during
That's her.
it being released or brought up. Or how are you just back around? Go look at some stuff.
Just-
and-
Oh, I'm a crime mark.
What's that?
I'm a crime mark. No, I did actually during an ancestral cleansing. I didn't even know.
Wow.
I love when people cry because it's just like just
That cauliflower is really good.
Oh, I didn't finish it.
It's good.
I gotta finish it.
That was my chips.
Yourself knows of the trapped emotion of depression. Has that been released from his eyes? Has it also been released from his liver? How about the gallbladder? Does he have another reason why he has depression in him? Is there another area where it's lodged? Okay, so you're good. When it comes to that, as of right now, for that. But if you wanted to get your heart wall, if you wanted to start like the process of that, we can do that. Or if anybody else wants to try it, how are you guys feeling?
What is the
Loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are your sexual organs?
They're flowing.
Electric. I've never thought about my sexual organs in mixed company so much.
try releasing that
Don't
tonight?
worry, mine were in shock.
Yeah. Yours were shock
I'd be
also.
interesting. I want you guys to keep in touch with me because I want to know, like, in a week, 2 weeks, I want
For
to
sure,
see,
yeah.
what the differences are. Because, like I said, some people it's not immediate for you to kind of like realize or see or to experience what the changes, But
I'm glad that came up for you though, because that's the gifts that keeps on giving all night.
Yeah.
I'm gonna recycle that all night.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Danny, you want to do your hip?
Woo!
I'm not using it.
You want to
I'll
go?
touch tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, you can stay there. So, is it your right hip?
No. My left hip.
Okay, so the interesting part of the body is on your left side is typically where, like if you have two, like kidneys, for example, or your adrenals, the left one usually goes first. And then when it's that depleted, then your other one kind of kicks in. So if it's in your right one, then you know it's really deep, right? So let's see about these hips. Make sure yourself knows that there's a trapped emotion ready to release now from Danny's hips. Yeah. Is it the left one? Is it also the right one? So I'm getting both. Hips don't lie. That's a good guess. Okay. Make sure yourself knows the trapped emotion ready to release now. Is that in column A? A in an odd row, A in an even row. A2, A4, is it in A6? Sexual organs.
Baby.
Jackpot.
Jackpot.
Wait, what was the emotion? We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh,
Just got to
dang it.
That's where the sexual
Oh, we're gonna
the
say
glands
that
and
one.
organs. My true self knows trapped emotion ready release now from Danny's hips. Is it humiliation? Is it jealousy? Is it longing? Is it lust? Is it overwhelm? Awesome. Okay. Is overwhelm in both sides of the hips? Yeah. Okay. How old are you?
25.
25. Okay. Mature self knows that the trapped emotion of overwhelm in Danny's hips, was that between 0 and 10? Between 10 and 20? Between 20 and 25. So between 10 and 20. Between 10 and 15? Between 15 and 20. Between 15 and 20? 16? 17? 18, so it's 16 years old. When's your birthday?
November 28th.
Okay, maybe show me, it's right around your birthday, when you turn 16-ish. Could be a little bit after, could be a little bit before.
Was that the 6 months here? 6 months?
Overwhelm.
Yeah. I think I went to Six Flags for the year for my birthday. I was
Okay.
16.
And again, if you don't want to share, then that's fine. So if there is something and you're like, okay, I have it in my head, just let me know and then I can test it.
No, not that I did.
Is there something specific to six? You want me to say
No. I think.
overwhelm. So the emotions, positive emotions that we would
Yeah.
That was probably that one.
be replacing is calm, carefree, flowing with ease, relieved.
I had a big fight this year, but okay, so I had a cousin that I was really close to, and he was the reason why I got into martial arts, and we were really close, but he never got to see me fight, and I had a fight booked in Iowa for a big tournament,
and it was gonna be his first time coming out, and he ended up getting killed. It's about like 2 weeks before my fight, so he didn't get to see me fight. So that was kind of a big fight. I ended up winning the fight, but it was like very emotional. Like
Yeah. Okay. Pictures of news. Sustained since you were getting yes. Yeah.
I ended up getting
You know what?
in that fight, I ended up getting hit in the liver in the first 10 seconds of the fight, and I went down. And like now, if I get hit in the fucking liver, like I probably won't get back up. But I ended up getting back up and winning the fight. So we went to the third round, and it was a draw. And then we got an extra round, and I ended up winning that extra round. So I ended up winning the fight, even though I got dropped in the first 10 seconds. But
He was with you.
yeah, I don't even know how I got back up, but yeah.
My true or self knows, is the trapped motion of overall, is that in another part of the body? Okay, is that in the glands? In the sexual organs, yes.
You're never gonna be able to ask that question after now.
You and me, buddy.
It's okay.
Do not get overwhelmed.
I am 5 years older than you. Just playing.
Is it lodged in another part of the body as well? No. Is it in the liver? No. Okay, because I was wondering, since you got hit in the liver, maybe it was there, but no. All right, so let's go ahead and release this.
Relieve that tension.
I'll take care of that.
I'll give you the 0 to 10 rating.
I don't like sharing today.
Because I'm going to be going down your spine, yeah. So the reason why we go down the spine again is it's the governing meridian, right? So it's the governing meridian is like the main channel line, right, of all your other meridians. So what happens is when the energy is flowing through that line, it's sending all that energy and information throughout the body to all the other meridians. So then it's kind of, what do you call it? It's like matching, right? The rest of the body matches up. So true creator of all that is the true something existence is commanded that the trapped emotion of overwhelm in Danny's hips, over the hips, and in his sexual organs be completely cleared and removed and replaced with the emotions of calm, carefree, flowing with ease, and relieved in the highest and best way now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's done, it is done, it is done. If you want.
Couple.
Alright. Go
I think I got
take a
that
walk.
like
Go
6
take a
times
walk around.
Last week. Bro, you know what I'm asking you every weekend I see you. Like, what, how's my itch? Don't ask me that.
Don't ask me that.
We need updates.
How them organs bent over.
How did
They
you
are
say that?
just fine,
How did you say
Renee.
that in Spanish?
I don't know. How do you say that in Spanish, Pinto? What?
How are your
How them organs?
¿Cómo están?
Organs, bueno.
On a scale of 1 to
Just at
10.
O.
Organics.
Origami?
So nice and loose. Let
They're
me see
okay.
salsa.
They're okay.
Let me see it.
Oh, I have my bob
Twerk.
outside.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, we need to twerk. We need to
See
upside
those
down
hips
twerk.
move.
And you know.
How are you feeling? Yeah.
Yeah, my hips just bruised, but
You'll see, yeah.
Yeah.
Within a couple days with your training.
Next Friday, bro.
Yeah,
Scale of 1 to 10.
Your range of motion is good.
I mean, my hips get like super fucking tired. I mean, the other day we did like 500 kicks, so it was
Yeah,
like,
it's a little excessive.
I was fucking walking like a robot.
He was walking like a robot, but I held pads for him, so my arms were bruised from
Oh
here to here.
my god.
She held him like a champ, for sure.
Where do you practice fighting at?
It's called the Lions Muay Thai.
Okay.
It's off of Spring
Oh,
Mountain.
you're at Alliance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know, he's Thai, or he's from Hawaii, Karu.
Krishan?
Yeah!
That's our coach.
Karu-shan used to be one of my fight team coaches.
That's funny.
Yeah, I actually have my old like team shirt.
He's from Master Toddy, and then he went
Yeah,
to his own
because
gym.
Toddy's son,
Yeah.
Master Toddy's son, Dale, was my Muay Thai coach.
Oh, that's funny.
I didn't know you guys trained with him.
Well, we've only been there for probably about 6
I wanna
months
come.
now. Yeah,
Yeah,
anytime.
I haven't seen Sean in forever. I did a few of his smokers, like a couple of his fights
That's funny.
for him. Yeah.
Nice.
That could be the next talk. How to escape chokeholds. Or
Or how to just accept it.
Just die.
Just
Just
ease
accept
into
it.
it.
Slow,
How
painful.
to apologize.
Appropriate.
How to say you're sorry.
How to say you're sorry.
English,
girl puts you in
Spanish,
for
sign
sure.
language.
remember when I showed you the Reiki certification, the certificates that I have for my
the
students?
one I read in Japanese.
She was like reading it in Japanese. I was like blown away.
Oh, you
my
speak
gosh.
Japanese?
She goes like, oh yeah, they
Sugoi.
translated this pretty well.
My fluency is like not great, but I can get by.
So you know what's interesting is my
How's
mom
your-
texts me
I took it in high
at
school,
8:02
so
and it's 8:14 now,
getting
so about
pretty
12 minutes ago.
I
She
feel like
says,
when I'm out there,
I had so
do
much
better.
energy
Yeah.
today. Wow,
Oh.
my
You go
tummy
to
is doing
bed.
better.
That's awesome.
I was
Off to bed
there.
early. So, like I said,
Some months
sometimes it's not
Okay. Yeah, I
immediate,
went in
like that
April.
you feel the effects,
Ooh,
but
what part do you go
For me,
to?
it wasn't. It
Japan,
never really is.
or-
It took a couple of days, and like
Tokyo,
it was almost like
Kyoto,
emotional,
Osaka, and
emotionally like
Oh,
draining.
I haven't done
for
the
a few days.
Yashiro
Like
yet.
I
One of
legit
I went
was
to
like,
college a semester
I was like a
in
fragile little leaf.
Tokyo.
Like,
And one of my best friends, she lives out in Chiba.
like nothing could
Okay.
like.
So like I would
couldn't
live in
handle
Tokyo
anything,
during the
but-
week and
and
then
that's-
Chiba
I would
like
just,
go
like,
surf
few
on the
days
weekends.
later,
I was surprised like
just
how
push through it, you know,
like
and
central, like how small
came
the
like a
central
champ.
part of Hiroshima is.
integration.
Like, this museum and then literally, it's like
You guys know
literally
so
2
much
blocks
about me
away
now.
from the drop
For me,
shop.
my elbow like wasn't hurting, but
Could
Like,
get
the
that
building
in
is
tattoo.
all
I just like the feeling
It
of the
was like
place.
all
Like,
You're living in
over.
Sweden.
It looks a lot different.
Right.
And I feel like because the closer that your
Yeah.
soul knows that you're going to be getting this work done, it's kind of like, well, let me show you what else is trapped.
It literally looked like a zombie bite. Like I had like
Oh my
knots like
God.
in my hip from people hitting it. I was like, what the
Damn, it's crazy. Amazing. Anybody have any other questions or things?
Yeah, that was awesome.
I think
Yeah,
they do.
wow.
Maybe go into depth more. I mean, just learning you can have more than one emotion in one area. You can have what's called psychic attack, where like if you think about traumatic events like 9/11, trapping 2 different emotions at the same time, you know, being lodged in the body. There's even they say trapped emotions called preconception trapped emotions, where if you believe in or you know, that window where you're not born yet, right? That interim period where they describe it as like your soul going like, what? You're sending me back down there? Like, you know, and having these different emotions kind of be trapped before you're even like conceived, right? In between lives. And like I said, the genetic ones, the ancestral ones, yeah, it's fascinating. So I'm so looking forward to how much I can grow and how much I can help other people grow. I've told this actually to Susie before. I said, I don't know exactly what my plan is. I know that I have like big plans, right? Like, you know, like what most people would say, like, oh, I want a healing center and I want, you know, this, I want to travel the world. But specifically, thinking about it, I go, I really enjoy helping other people find their truest potential. And I have a lot of friends that'll come to me and they'll be like, I don't know what to do, this and that and this and that. And for me, I'm like, on the outside, it's so much easier because when it's you, you're kind of like, I don't know what to do. But when somebody else, I'm just like, no, I see this in you. You're like, you're supposed to be doing this. Like, this is your path, you know? Just like in working with one of our other friends, Jade, I'm like, no, this is what I see for you. And so after working on her heart wall, I mean, she's open. There's been some really crazy things that have happened in her life, and I was like, wow, it's amazing. But, you know, being able to help different people that are kind of stuck in career and, you know, what their truest potential is, what their passion is being able to, like, take those blocks away so that they can actually realize it for themselves and feel that passion, you know, and go for it. And with the body code, and working with my mentor, we're going to be working on prosperity and abundance, and me being able to step fully into this career path myself so that I can like get out to the masses and be comfortable with it. Because he tested me and you're at like 46% that you believe that you can do this. So I'm like, what's freaking holding me back? So it makes sense that even though I've been doing this for like 4 years, you know, I'm not like mainstream because there's some type of block that I've had in myself for whatever reason that's saying like, no, not yet, or you can't do it yet, or you have to wait more, or whatever. And I'm at the point, I'm like, fuck it, let's take all the walls down. I want to like go for it. And that's why I was like, I have to do this talk today. As uncomfortable as I am talking, and I think it's because of the camera, you know what I mean? It'd be different if it was just like us talking, but there's something there. As much as I've been on camera for acting and films, and it's different. So I think it's the accountability and like being able to have the knowledge and speak about it. And I just realized I'm like, I just have to do it. You know, once I've done it once, then I'll do it another time and another time and another time, and then I'll get to the point where I'm like super comfortable. And as a well speaker as Jason is. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And we're going to be designing bowling alleys.
We have a lot of projects.
Yeah, we have so many projects, you know.
With elastic underwear.
I mean, I really think there's something there. The bamboo and elastics and
Well, we have the bioluminescent plankton
Bioluminescent,
lined
yep.
bowling alleys.
yeah, I think they all kind of align together. And the secret sauces.
Oh yeah. We're gonna don't look back there. That's you.
Yeah. Okay, who's in the seat?
You're in the hot seat.
Hey Kevin, so Mike has to.
Okay.
So I didn't know it was gonna take this long. So you want to just go ahead and get an Uber back?
Yeah, I'll just do an Uber.
Yeah.
And I'll text you later.
Wait,
All right, thanks for coming,
where are
man.
you going back
Thanks
to?
for listening.
I'm going back to the hotel.
Oh, do you just want me to drop you off?
Yeah, I'm not worried.
Thank you so much for hosting
yeah.
us. It was a blast.
Thank you for coming.
Nice meeting you.
We'll have you.
Sorry, yeah.
Well, I don't think each other
Next
next
one.
But yeah, I live here, so we'll definitely keep in touch. So.
It was nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you
Nice
too.
meeting you.
All right. Have a good night.
It's been real, man.
Are you going out tonight? You're going out tonight.
That's the plan, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Work that lower back tonight.
Maybe some child's play.
Can you just deadlift multiple things as she passed and just send it to us?
See you, Mike.
See you, Mike.
Oh, what are we doing tonight?
What's that?
Going
What are
out.
we doing tonight? We're going out?
We should totally go out.
Okay.
I'm going to XS.
Mo's down? Go out?
I don't know. I'm just like,
Okay.
I just finished my talk.
Okay, gotta keep it quick then.
Oh, do you need to hook up your phone or anything?
Yeah, I'm going there.
Will you turn the TV on? Do you need it now or after?
In like a minute or so.
And do you have it recording still?
Yeah, I think we
How do you have so much memory? Well, your talk was an hour 20, so.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't cut out.
Get on the couch.
Actually.